Before closing, as Minister of State for Agriculture and Food Security, I'll have to drop 1 or 2 points because it will be uncharitable of me not to do so. I want to say very clearly that you recall the challenge of food security, and I know many of you here have had cause to call me on 1 or 2 things. But let me say this. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's vision for Nigeria is for us to have what we call food sovereignty, which means we should have sufficient food produced by our own citizens, consumed by our own citizens, such that our part dependent, if you want to call it that, to other sources is minimal. Because if we are dependent on other sources, when those sources dry up, you can imagine the disaster and the chaos that will bring to our nation. So his vision is for us to have food sovereignty. Within the ambit of food security, you go for food sovereignty, which means you are sufficiently producing your commodities or your produce yourself, and you are making it available for your citizens in an affordable level and accessible at the same time. If you talk about food security, you are talking about availability of the food, accessibility of the food, affordability, and in the right nutritional content on a sustainable basis, which means you shouldn't be food sufficient today, tomorrow you are hungry. Maybe today you've taken 3 square meals, tomorrow you don't have. Or you've taken for 1 month, the next month you don't have. We are working very hard in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. Incidentally, let me say, like some of our colleagues have said, the proud ambassadors of the Senate, myself and my big brother, Distinguished Senator Abubakar Kyari, CON, we are doing our best to reverse the negative trend we met. We have adopted what we call all year round farming as a policy now, which means in some commodities we could have 3, 4, 5 cycles, depending on if the instruments of production are all available. And within that context, yes, we have rainy season, dry season, but what we are promoting now is saying all year round farming, which means we are promoting irrigation agriculture. We are also looking at post-harvest in such a manner that the high post-harvest losses can be reduced. In some commodities, it's up to 70%. In some commodities, 50%. So we are working very hard. You might recall we have a program we call Post-Harvest Connect, which is designed to bring all the ecosystem members in the post-harvest system to support farmers to reduce their post-harvest losses. And just recently, my brother just returned from Dakar, where he attended the African Food System Summit. And of course, post-harvest was also one of the major pillars of what he has presented as the transformation we are working very hard on. Now, but the other aspect is that on a perennial basis, in terms of inputs, we are also looking at that. And through the Nigerian Force Policy, we are working to see how we can reverse another dependence again on high input costs. Because if we produce in country more of our inputs, we can bring down the cost. Most importantly also, I said in food security, you are looking at availability, for example. Now, we know the high price of transportation is also another thing. And I can say it on good authority to you that the president has given a marching order with a Federal Executive Council committee already handling this on how we are going to promote safe passage of agricultural foods and commodities across our various routes in the country. Because we are aware, and I'm sure as media you are also aware, there are routes in which when commodities are taken, before they are delivered, if you know the amount of money that is being spent, you can now understand why those commodities have to be expensive at the point of delivery. So we are working very hard. We are doing quite a lot, but I'm just giving you a snippet because I'm here and I felt we should look at that. Another important part I would like you to take notice of very seriously is we are promoting, or we are having what we call Renewed Hope Cooperative Reform and Revamp Program. Mr. President has shown tremendous interest in the cooperative sector. as a veritable tool for resource mobilization, for economic activity generation, and to improve the livelihood of members. And you know, the principle of cooperative is clear, is democratic, yet it is also very productive. And
another round of applause for him.